In today's video, we are going to tell you ways to beat the heat at Universal Orlando.
If you're new here, on this channel we talk about all things theme parks, including updates, news, and tips and tricks for your next theme park vacation. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
So, how can you beat the heat at Universal Orlando? You can't. Thanks for watching. No, seriously, the last time that we were there, it was hot. It was so hot.
Yeah.
And we found ourselves really early on trying to find ways to get a break from the heat. So, in today's video, we are going to tell you some of the strategies that we used, some of the places that we went, and just some of the things that we did to get out of the sun for a little bit so we didn't get overheated and so that we could enjoy our vacation.
Okay, so we're gonna start by talking about some of the locations in the parks that we found to be better air conditioned than others.
Yeah.
Of course, all of the indoor locations, including the stores and the rides, have air conditioning, but for whatever reason, some of them were a lot colder than others.
Oh yeah.
And the first one that comes to mind is Nocturne Alley.
Yeah, so we love Nocturne Alley for a plethora of reasons. But, yeah, it's really cold. Not only is it cold, it's dark.
Yes.
And sometimes just getting out of the sun
Yeah.
is enough to just, like, change your day. But we love Nocturne Alley, and it doesn't ever seem to be, like, really crowded either.
Yeah.
Like, we've been in there a few times where it was a little uncomfortable, but most of the time, I don't know if people just don't see it or just walk by it, but it is a very secluded place where you can get out of not only the heat but the sun.
Another area that makes us question how much Universal's utility bill is
I know exactly where you're going.
is King's Cross Station.
Yeah, so what's crazy about King's Cross is, yes, inside of it it's almost cold.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't, like, if you're walking in front of it, like, it doesn't matter if you're like 50 feet, 100 feet in front of it, like, they are literally cooling the earth with their air conditioning. Like, it is, you walk by and like 95% of the time we just stop because, like, it just hits you and you can't help it. You just stop and you're like, oh yeah, this is how you want it.
It does. It feels
It's
so
like,
good.
It's like 20 degrees colder in front of King's Cross. Like, I'm surprised it's not, like, doesn't have its own clouds, like, got its own climate and stuff. Like, it's wild.
It's a little atmosphere.
Yeah.
It is really interesting, and the other side of the train station in Hogsmeade isn't like that.
Well, it's a little more open air, so I can
Right.
see why. But somewhere else that we talked about, Men in Black. So, like, a lot of their indoor rides, they're, like we talked about, they're air conditioned.
Right.
But Men in Black is like a different level.
Yeah.
You walk in there and I promise you, like, you see heaven open up. like you feel so good. Personally, I think it's the coldest place in the parks.
It was so cold
Yeah.
on our last trip. We had some switchbacks that were outside before we actually went into the building.
Yeah.
And when we got, like, out in front of the doors, it just hit us.
Yeah.
And it felt amazing.
Something you might have noticed is that all of those locations that we spoke of were in studios.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because nothing really came to mind in islands.
Yeah.
Some of the shops in Port of Entry, yeah, they're plenty air conditioned. And some of the queues are as well. Like, Velocicoaster and Hagrid's are both really nice once you get inside. The problem is you never start inside. So,
Yeah.
like, if you're trying to get out of the heat, you're gonna have to wait in line and then get inside.
Yeah.
But what Islands does have that Studios doesn't is water rides.
With the water rides, you can kind of, like, pick your level of wetness
Oh yeah,
that
like,
you want.
Yeah, you go from, like, mildly wet to somehow I have water everywhere. Like, in me, like outside, like everywhere.
If you just want to get mildly wet, you can head over to River Adventure, where your shoes probably aren't going to get soaked, but you're definitely going to get a nice little misting.
Misting. Yeah, you're gonna get wet, but it's not that bad.
And then if you're wanting to like get the sensation that you jumped in a pool,
yeah, if you're wanting to like try not to drown, you're gonna want to ride one of the other two, so Bluto's or Ripsaw Falls.
And your last option, if you're wanting to get a little bit wet without having to ride any of those rides, is to head on over to the Splash Zone.
In case you were wondering what the Splash Zone was, it's like it's like the observation area for the final drop of River Adventure.
Yeah.
So, like, when those boats come down, they displace a lot of water.
Yeah.
And the last time that we were there, we actually saw, like, some kids and like some families just taking it. Like,
just embracing it.
Yeah, just like... And what's funny is, like, you never, like, a lot of people walk through there suspectingly.
Yeah, it's...
Like, it's like, hey, it's wet right here.
Yeah.
What happened? Did it rain in this one area? And then they just get pelted. Sometimes beating the heat isn't just about cooling yourself down. Sometimes you just need to take a break. And one of the best ways to do that without feeling like you are missing out on time in the parks is Universal offers several shows that are actually indoors that you can go to. The first one that comes to mind is like the Born Stunt-tacular.
Oh my gosh, that ride or attraction is so cold on the inside, and it lasts a good while.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the runtime is.
Yeah.
We could probably do a little bit better research and have that for you. I might put it right here. But yeah, it really is a good amount of time off your like feet and in air conditioning room.
Yeah, in our latest trip to the parks, we went ahead and watched that show.
Yeah.
We were both the heat was getting to us.
Yeah.
We were really, really hot. And after that show, we just kind of felt rejuvenated and like we were ready to hit the ground running again. Another nice indoor show to give yourself a break from the heat is the horror makeup show, which we absolutely adore.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun, and it's not, I don't know, I think a lot of people skip it, but it's really like basically a comedy show.
Yeah.
They do tell you some neat stuff and things like that, but it's so entertaining. Like, we've watched it multiple times, and it's kind of the same gig every time, but it's still funny. Like, and it's one of those shows, I think you can get like picked for it. Like, it's just a way to get out. And it also runs for a decent amount of time.
Right. Another indoor show that you can go see if you want is Shrek 4D.
No, I think I'd rather just be hot. Like, yeah, like just let me go down.
So I guess that's a no on Shrek.
It's a big no on Shrek.
But there are also some other tips and tricks to kind of help you keep from getting overheated while you're in the parks.
Like, if you just wear the deepest of these, you can...
I was going to say staying hydrated. Like, one of our biggest tips is...
This wasn't planned, I promise.
No. One of our biggest tips is to get the Coca-Cola Freestyle Cup.
You hear us say it all the
so
time.
So you don't have to pay like $50 for water just for one day. Because staying hydrated really does help keep you cool.
Yeah.
If you get dehydrated in the heat, you're just going to be absolutely miserable. And kind of another tip to add on to that is that the Freestyle machines do have Powerade Zero.
Yeah.
So make sure you're mixing in something like that has some electrolytes and not just straight water. Another tip is just knowing when to take a break.
Yeah.
We are the world's worst about just like going, and we got to go to this show, and then we got to go to this ride, and then we got to be here. And sometimes you just have to stop and sit down somewhere that's air conditioned and cool off.
So like this last trip, I think, kind of proved that point to us, because we don't take a lot of summer trips.
No.
I mean, maybe one every year, but a lot of times we don't go in the summer just because of how hot it is.
Yeah.
And us just getting back in the middle of June, like, I think we really realized how hard we push ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
And how you just really can't do that when it is excessively hot.
Yeah, so if that's you and you just go, make sure that you take some time to go sit down and see a show in the air conditioning or get some lunch somewhere or something like that.
Like, especially if you're staying for a long time. Like, luckily for us, this was like a shorter trip for us. But if you're there for a week in the middle of the summer, like, take it easy because it will catch up to you later on in the trip, and you just don't want to like be dealing with any kind of like sickness, like anything like that later on in your trip.
Speaking of taking a break to cool off, there are some treats that can help you regulate your temperature as well. And the first one that a lot of people don't know about is when you purchase that Coca-Cola Freestyle cup, it actually comes with the icy refills.
Yeah, you can go up to like any of those little stands that you see that have the icy machines, and you can just ask them and they will put an icy in there for you.
They have all different kinds of flavors like lemonade or like a Coca-Cola slushie.
Cherry, blueberry. We've tried them all.
All of your standard flavors. Another really great treat to cool you down is ice cream, which you can get all over both of the parks and City Walk.
Like if you take a ball and just throw it, you're probably going to hit a place that serves ice cream at Universal.
Yeah, you can head over to Florian's. There's a Haagen-Dazs. There's a Froyo place, and City Walk pretty much everywhere has ice cream. And speaking of ice cream, something along those lines, you can go get yourself a frozen butterbeer.
No. If you want to be fully refreshed, nothing hits the spot. I don't know if you know this yet, but hot butterbeer is being served year-round, and nothing just replenishes you like 113-degree hot butterbeer in the middle of the summer. Like that first sip, and it's just like, oh, it's like a splash of cold water in your face.
No, we actually did this.
And it was delicious, but it was miserable. We're like, oh man, you can get hot butterbeer now. Then we got it and we're like, oh wow, you can get hot butterbeer now.
Yeah, that was really hard to drink when it was so hot outside. Like it tasted good, but like your body was just like, please don't drink any more of that at all.
But seriously, one of our favorite things to do is like kind of combo some of these things, like a frozen butterbeer in Nocturnally.
Oh my gosh!
Like top 10. Like that's like a 9.8 on the scale.
We do that at least once per trip when we're there. Just go get a frozen butterbeer from somewhere and just go like sit down in the floor right there in Nocturnally.
Yeah, there's not a lot of seating. Like there's no seats. I don't think there might be one bench in there. I don't think there is.
I don't think so.
It seems like there's one right there. Oh well, we digress. But seriously, we just sit on the floor or sit on the ground. It's fine.
Yeah, the concrete's kind of cold. It kind of feels nice just to relax in that cold environment. That is literally one of our favorite things to do at the parks. Also, please remember, if you do start to feel sick because of the heat or feel like you're getting dehydrated or have any kind of negative symptoms, please let one of the team members know, because Universal does have medical staff and they can get you the help that you need if the heat really is starting to get to you.
All right, guys, I guess that wraps up today's video. Leave us a comment in the comment section and let us know, where is your favorite place in the parks where you just go to relax and get out of the sun.
If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. You can hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification so you get an alert every time we post a new video.
Thanks for watching.